Let's get started then. Thank you and welcome everybody for joining. I'm so grateful because we are here joining this Be Women weekly webinar to connect, to share, to learn actually what is important to us today in these very challenging moments, in these moments of isolation. That is a unique opportunity for us to reimagine who we are going to be in the future. You know, who are we going to be personally, professionally, where we want to go, where we want to aim at, and reimagine who we are going to be also as global citizens. What are we going to stand for? What are you going to do for what are you going to accept or not accept from governments or from organizations? Okay, I'm Laura Giadorou Koch. I'm founder of Be Women and lawyer of the state of New York and Argentina, and very passionate about using business as a force for good. Our webinar will last around 50 minutes, and we have an amazing speaker, Nina Urman. She will talk about brain management during uncertain times, like now, the COVID. And Nina is the founder of Dream, Dare, Act coaching, and she's an exceptional person. I know her personally, good friend. She has been training over hundreds of people and couples and families around the world to live happier and healthier and become the highest expression of themselves. She's a former professional player, for a tennis player for many years, and now for the last 10 years delivering authentic transformation, and she does it in a big way. So a few more minutes. Who we are, Be Women. We are a global network of women entrepreneurs that seek to balance purpose and profits in the markets towards what we call the care economy. You heard me right, the caring economy. That is an economic system in which we genuinely care for people and nature as our top priority, where our values, respect, dignity, collaboration are our driving forces. And a few seconds more, I want to share what is the Be Women Empowering Move that is very important in these moments where we need to be energized at home all the time. That is to move always your shoulders back, your chin up, your eyes that twinkle with joy and determination, and with a super wide smile, always smiling to illuminate everybody around you. And with this great smile, let's move in with Nina, please.
Hello and welcome everyone. I am so grateful to have the opportunity to talk to you today and share parts of my work on mastering your mind and managing your brain, especially during these critical, extraordinary times that we go through right now. So thank you for tuning in, for investing this time in yourself and allowing yourself this space to learn about how to become a much more conscious leader and really understanding the power of your mind. I'm going to give you a complete mind mastery and mindfulness toolkit so you can really be aligned and become that best version of yourself. You guys ready? Let's go. So the whole world seems to be on pause right now, and if we cannot go outside for the moment, I really propose that we go inside and we ask ourselves really empowering questions. So I've been exchanging with many of my friends and colleagues all around the world, and what I've noticed is that we all have a very different experience of this pandemic that's happening. And some of us are experiencing fear, anxiety, even panic, while others are experiencing feelings of gratitude and expansion, love and connection. And those are frankly kind of the two extremes. And I feel most of us are kind of riding the waves of up and down, you know, surfing the waves of emotion, trying not to drown. So in the middle of all this, I want to ask you guys, how can we master our minds? How can we be the most conscious leaders? How can we bring more value into the world? How can we create this care economy that Laura has been talking about? So I promise you that you will come out of this call with less pressure and more clarity and inspiration on how to move forward and consciously connect with your partner, with your families, with your children, and most importantly, with yourself. So the first thing I would like to talk to you about is the concept of circumstance versus story or even drama. So this first thing, so important to understand, it's the foundation of my talk, is that the current circumstance, and you might find some resistance in yourself when I say this, is completely neutral. Circumstances are things that happen in the world that we don't have direct control over from our current position. So examples might include the weather, but also other people's behavior, other people's illness, death, the war, and also this pandemic, this crisis that we're going through right now. So if you can't control what's happening outside, what can you control? Well, you can control your thoughts about it and your perception that you choose to take. So most of us understand this intellectually, but when we actually live it, we often just forget. So if you didn't know that the pandemic was happening, you would have no emotional response whatsoever. So it's all neutral until you have a thought about it. What do you make it mean for yourself? What is the story in your mind that you're choosing to believe? You know, as Byron Katie, one of my teachers, she said, circumstances are reality. And when you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time. So it's not the circumstance that's causing you your pain, but rather your thoughts about it. And this is actually really, really good news, because no matter how horrific the past, no matter how horrible the event, and I know that some of you are going through really hard moments right now, it is your thoughts about the potential outcomes of this that are causing you the emotions, the feelings that you're experiencing. Yes, there's the virus. Yes, there's death, that there's possibility of death. These are the facts. But what do you make it mean? And then also, what actions do you take from that place? Because actions are also something that you can control. What is the story you're creating in your mind? And I find for myself that, you know, I've been experiencing many of these different roller coasters emotions, going from anxiety to anger to compassion and grief, and then also lots of connection and gratitude. And I find that some of my emotional choices are not very useful in the current situation. So I strongly believe that we need to experience all of our emotions fully. It's so critical to not go into, you know, some people in the personal development industry, they would say we just need positive informations all the time and we need to think positively at all times and happy-go-lucky. I believe that you can choose sadness, you can choose to be, you know, disappointed, you can choose to be frustrated, but please choose it from a conscious place. We don't want to be happy, frankly, all of the time. When somebody dies or somebody is ill, we want to choose to be sad, right? And this is what makes this reality so enjoyable and so human. Choose humanness over happiness is what I tell my clients often, frankly. And I strongly believe that most of us right now, many of us, let's say, are buffering, are trying to numb our emotional responses. You know, many of my clients are overeating right now, over drinking, overworking, over exercising, overspending on the internet. So what it means is that they are resisting the change, resisting the emotional response that they can have. But dwelling too much in the negative emotion, you're actually creating a situation for yourself that's not beneficial. And I must note here that accepting the things that we cannot change is one of the most powerful things we can do. And it seems almost paradoxical to think that acceptance is a powerful action. You know, many of my clients, they come to me and they say, If I accept reality, Nina, I lose the power to change it. And I say it's exactly opposite is true. Accepting the present moment as it is right now, without completely identifying with it, this is where all of our power lies. You know, Eckhart Tolle, another teacher that you might know, teaches us about the power of now. Frankly, we only have this moment. From this moment now till we are going to die, because death is always a possibility, this is what we have, and this is the moment where we can be the most conscious leaders. And accepting things the way they are doesn't mean that we excuse them or we agree with them or we condone them. It just means that we're not trying to change something by pushing against it. We're choosing not to go to war. I was smiling when Monsieur Macron announced, we are at war now. And I said, at war with what? The only place where you could be at war is with yourself and your emotional responses, right? We can act from a place of peace. We can act from a place of love, from a place of consciousness, and still be the advocates of change. There's so much freedom when you release the resistance against your circumstances. This does not disempower us at all. It actually gives us all our power back. So this is the first and most important kind of talking point that I wanted to bring across to you. And I encourage you to write in the chat if you agree, if you disagree, what comes up for you in terms of circumstance is neutral. You can choose any reality that you want to experience. And when I say this might create resistance in you. I want to ask you a question right now. Really ask your brain, how do you want to feel about this current situation? Like imagine, this will be fun. Imagine I would come to you with a tray of emotional shots, like little cocktails that I will propose to you and say, would you like some fear today? Would you like some love? Would you like some gratitude, grief, anger, sadness? Which one would you take? What is your choice? Because remember, you are completely in charge. And then from that place, from that emotion, which action are you going to take? Now, I've spoken to many, many people around the world, and I'm always amazed of seeing people's, reactions and also proactions. I call them proactions. Some of the young people that I've exchanged with have decided to create even more value. They're serving other people. They're choosing this moment to create a new business, to go online and pivot. Or, one of my friends has started a photography exposition. They create poems. My own impulse has been coach nonstop and show people their minds, because it's easy to understand these concepts again intellectually, but actually living them, this is what we're here for. This is our purpose, is to become that best version of yourself. And it's all a choice, and it's really good news. Okay, great. Let me see. Total acceptance is the start of it all. Thank you, Natalia. Absolutely. The second thing I want to talk to you guys about is something that I call the corona brain. What is the corona brain? Well, most of us don't have the virus physically, right? We don't have the illness in our bodies. Or maybe we've had it, we passed it, maybe we know somebody who has had it. But I bet all of us at one point have had a story in our minds that led us to more awareness of death and the possibility of it. So we don't have the illness itself, but we're focusing on it. We had a little movie, what would happen with my husband, with our children, with myself if all of a sudden I get sick, right? And right now there's such an awareness in the world about the possibility of death. However, I want to ask you again, I want to offer you something. The possibility of death has always been there. Every day, thousands and thousands of people are dying of all kinds of causes. And if we were to focus on a normal day, like before the COVID pandemic, on the numbers, like if we would check our phones, like we do this like every morning, right now I see like many people scrolling the phones, how many people have died, how many people have passed away. If that was happening on a normal day, this would create so much tension in us. We wouldn't even get out. Going in the car there's always a possibility of having a car accident, right? So this is something they call the pre-traumatic stress, anticipating something ahead of time that is not even happening. One of my teachers used to say, worry is poorly used imagination. And if you have the imagination possibility in your brain, we're frankly the only species that have the possibility to think about our own thinking. Imagine something good. Imagine something that will ground you. And the only way to get out of the corona brain is to come back to the present moment. What's going on for me right now? I still have a human life, still have a human brain. I'm at my computer, I'm on Zoom, I'm listening to Nina's voice, to this presentation. Name the things around you that are reality. That's going to bring you back to the moment. When we accept and deliberately choose to be in the present moment, this is when everything opens up. This is when our awareness shifts. So repeat the facts that are true. It's so powerful. And it seems right now, like I was telling you earlier, that there is a lot of escape from the present moment. There's a lot of possibility in general to press the escape button. It's because we don't want to do the work that's required, because we don't want to stay in the discomfort where all our power is. We go and eat a donut. We go and have that second, third, fourth glass of wine because we want to numb that pain that is inside. We go and buy lots of things online, right? And this is all a choice, right? I just wanted to offer you that when you do that, you kind of miss out on the whole story of the whole human experience. It is supposed to be good, bad, and ugly. I think the resistance of this shouldn't be happening is what creates all our emotional pain right now. It's not just the good stuff. Life is not just a vacation. It's not supposed to be. And imagine if it was all a vacation, then we wouldn't be even able to appreciate it, right? Yeah, fear, yes, false evidence appearing real. Absolutely, Natalia, absolutely. And war is poor use of imagination. Yes, you guys get it. It's so, so important. The third thing that I want to talk to you about is leading the change. And it's all interconnected, but you'll get the point. It's very important. Life is a series of changes. If you haven't noticed, the only constant that we have is change. Change is happening all the time. You know, you might get in a car accident tomorrow. Your partner might leave you. You might be laid off. You might lose all of your money. And you always have the choice. You can wait for the change to happen, and then it's going to happen to you, or you can be proactive and lead the change from within. So one of the biggest powers you have is in decision making. What do I decide? What do I choose? It's your ability to respond. Between that stimulus and response, there's always that place, as Viktor Frankl was saying, that is your freedom. It's time to be proactive. We can use this exceptional time to evolve and be even more resilient, to, double down on what it is we're here to become, right? You will come out of this so much stronger, aligned, and determined if you decide not to hide. Like so many of us right now are scrolling from our phones and looking at what's the president going to say? What's the president going to decide for me and my life? Obviously, we will take into consideration the different things, the masks, what we need to wash our hands, we need to do all these things. But you still get to decide in your brain, in your mind, how you want to show up. I tell my clients right now, let's say this will be 3 months, might be more, but let's say this will be the 3 months in confinement. Who are you going to be after this 3 months? How are you going to be more of yourself, the best version? What do you want to create? How can you help right now? What do you want to be of service? And you take into consideration what's happening, And then you move on, you double down on your essence. Because frankly, your worth is always there. But what is it that you want to create right now? So this is about mastering uncertainty and practicing resilience, right? You guys get it absolutely. It's like saying to yourself, I will live my life and lead the change. Try it and you will see that you will have extraordinary results. So don't just give up. Like so many of us are kind of like, oh, I'm just going to wait this out. I'm just going to, hide and crawl down and, a couple of months and then I'll come out and everything's going to be okay again. And I want to invite you for the rush to go back to normal, consider what it is that is worth going back for. And also, is there going to be a normal? What is the new normal? And it starts with every one of us. Remember, there's always uncertainty. And if you overcome the discomfort, this is when you're going to grow the most. This is when you're going to set goals for yourself. It's such an amazing opportunity. Do not minimize your goals right now. Ask more of yourself, double down. And many of you will tell me, because I work with lots of parents, they'll say, but I have my kids at home, you don't understand. Like they're taking all of my energy and time. And I say to them, okay, well, maybe your decision can be, how can I be the best parent right now? The circumstance is the same. I'm going to be the most compassionate, the most patient, the best cook, whatever it is you decide. This is when you grow. And maybe a few moments, because I know that there's a lot of business leaders on the call. I want to tell maybe a couple of thoughts on money and business worries. I believe it's very tactical to make peace with the worst case scenario, to let your mind go to the worst case scenario. Like I'm going to, lose all my businesses. They're going to be worthless, whatever it might be for you. Just go there with your mind and make peace with it. Future forecast yourself. Feel the motion of what that might mean for you. Understand that it's a choice, that you're going there on purpose. And then remind yourself that the most important things, frankly, are the things that are left when all the money is gone, when everything is gone, when the business is not there. The essential things, family, the health, reading books, playing with your dogs, playing with your children. This is the moments when we really become alive. The best things in life aren't things, right? And one more reminder kind of that goes along is that your value is created in your mind. Your value isn't outside somewhere. It's not in your stocks and it's not in your, businesses. It's up here. So if you've created money before, businesses before, you can create them again. Right now, I encourage all my students, all my clients to learn more. Like, listen, we have this, right? We have our phones, we have the internet. We have all the knowledge of the world possible at the speed of light. So learn a new language, go through the history books, whatever it is that you're interested in, study, learn something new, use this time as an opportunity. And I want to close on some practical things because all of these are theories and they kind of need to be integrated. But what can you do practically, if I may, Laura, for a couple more minutes before we open it up for discussion? So once we become aware and watch our thoughts and watch our feelings and take action, shifts will start to happen. But what can you do practically, right? The first thing that I tell my clients to create, and I know most of you are already doing this, is to create kind of a mind, body, soul care package, right? So like a physical body is straightforward. Eat as healthy as possible. Hydrate yourself. Exercise, move, dance. Take care of your fitness and health. And these things are so trivial. And I know that common sense is not common practice because I work with my clients and they'll tell me again, but this is extraordinary situation. I don't want to eat healthy. I don't want to, or I don't choose to because I don't have the time, right? This is exactly the time for you to do it. This is the moment where you can ask yourself, how am I going to be the most healthy person? Physically, mentally, emotionally. From the mind management perspective, I've said a lot of things, but maybe what I want to offer you is that we need to upgrade our brains just as we upgrade and update the software on our phones. Do thought download. That's what I do every morning right now. I'm just writing down all the thoughts that come from my mind, the good, the bad, and the ugly, all of them. And it's almost like clearing out your mind. It's like they say that right now it's the spring clean, right? So clean out your mind. Look at what it is actually there. When I do this with my clients, they say, oh, this is what I'm thinking. I'm saying, yes, no wonder you're feeling this way if you're thinking all these thoughts. And most of them, frankly, are not even true. They are just things that we think by default. So I want to invite you to think them on purpose and choose the thoughts that you want to think. What are the repeated thoughts on your day? And, it's almost like energetic or emotional cleaning, emotional hygiene. Like, it's just as important as washing our hands 10 times a day. You can release your emotions. You can have a good cry. When you feel sadness in your heart, have a good cry. Crying is releasing. You can punch a pillow if you're angry. You can journal, doing the thought downloads. You can breathe. One of the things so important is to breathe right now. And tell yourself, use this, technique of what is it that's happening right now? What are the facts? What is the facts and what am I choosing to tell myself? Learn how to feel. So many of us don't know how to feel. How's the feeling? What's the color? What's the emotion? What's the vibration in your body? What's the worst feeling that can happen? And see the bigger picture. A larger piece of conscious living and conscious leadership is meditation. So I really encourage you, if you're not doing it already, is to connect to your breathing, to connect to that energy, and really become that extraordinary human being that you're here. A power emotion that I propose to everyone.
Nina, can we pause here for a few seconds?
Absolutely.
And give us
I've been in my flow.
No, but there's a lot more and a lot of questions. Can you tell us more? One of the biggest issues we have as a society is to learn how to meditate. Now, everybody says mindfulness, meditation, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. What is your best practice? What do you do? How do you do it?
So for me, what I do is what works for me best is in the morning to set an intention and to have a ritual, a gratitude ritual. So right now I have a newborn, right? I have a little baby. So before she wakes up, if I decide to wake up earlier, then I'll set an intention and I'll ask myself, who do I want to be today? And I go inward. And just for a few minutes, I'll do inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And I'm going to tell myself, I'm going to put my hands on my heart. It's scientifically proven that this really works in terms of energy.
I invite you all to put your hands in your heart and follow Nina.
Just do this with me because it's so important. And we can even do this now so people get an understanding of what it could be. So I invite you to close your eyes and just put your hands on your heart and take a deep breath through your nose and out through your mouth with a sigh. Just do this a couple of times. In through your nose, and out through your mouth. One more time. And just keep on breathing and keep on releasing. And I want you to imagine a stream of white light pouring down on you. Starting from the crown of your head, flowing down your shoulders, your chest, your belly, your hips, your thighs, flowing down to your knees, your legs, your feet, and down into the earth. I want you to see yourself glowing in this beautiful white light. And I want you to set an intention for today. What is your to-be list? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to show us as? How are you going to be the best expression of yourself? Which emotions are you going to choose today? Take another deep breath. Let it
False
all
evidence appearing real.
And I invite you to come back into the here and now. Open your eyes. Okay, welcome back. This is what I do, Laura. I just imagine that I'm deciding to show up as my best self. This is such an opportunity. Every day when I wake up, I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to have my family around me. And I'm grateful to be able to contribute. Okay. Oh gosh, there's so many notes that I haven't read. Journaling every morning, yes. Breathing.
Can you tell us more how to journal? I think that's something so important, and so many people say journal, but you know, you do it 2-3 days and then you get up and you immediately run.
It's like everything that, you know, that you can do daily, you don't need to do it all. I think people misunderstand, and they go like, oh, I need to meditate and I need to journal and I need to work out. And all of a sudden they're overwhelmed and they don't do anything. They have paralysis, right? They're like, oh, I'm stuck. You can choose one thing. Choose one thing that is going to be your little ritual. It could be a little meditation ritual for 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be much. It could be a thought download. Like I was saying earlier, just write everything down that's in your brain. Empty your brain, empty it all out, clean it all out. Because what happens is that if you don't clean it out, it's like this little, you know, dirty things in the corner that are going to be stuck. And over time, it's going to come back at you and you're going to, you know, react all of a sudden. It's because you were not doing your mind management. You're cleaning out. You can do simple movement, you know, opening your heart, just opening like this, closing down like this, like little things. It's amazing, but do them daily. This is the thing. You know, they tell us minimum 28 days to integrate a habit, usually 90 days to really get it. And come from a place of abundance. Tell yourself, I'm choosing to do this. This is for me. This is an investment in myself. Like all of you guys have chosen to be here on this call, and you're investing in yourself. So really be present with this and say, yes, I've invested in myself because I am enough, because I'm worthy. I want this for myself. And it's the same things with journaling. What you can do is also, you know, with the power of imagination, you can write things down that you would like to see, your ideal day, or your ideal year. What are the things that you would like to evolve into? This is also something that I use in my journaling. And it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be the most beautiful journal. You know, sometimes even just a piece of paper, you know, gives you that opportunity to clear out. Yes, from abundance. How about we open up a little bit to questions, Laura? What do you feel? I feel like there's maybe an opportunity to.
Absolutely. So why don't you unmute yourself, or you can ask a question and in beside your name, the participant list, there's a little flag that you can say, I want to talk, and you want to ask maybe a question. I know Amar is on the line, and he might have questions or mention something about your book, Purposehood. If not, is maybe
everybody's unmuted, but how about you guys tell us in the chat some of your questions that I can address, or also just raising your hand?
No, Lubana has just unmuted herself and also has, whoops. Okay, so would Robert want to mention something, or Natalia, and share what are their thoughts or their questions on how is it that we can improve our brain? If not, my question is, Nina, is about choices. You know, you talked about choices. You know, when we were born as humans, we were given the act of choice. Like a dog or an animal can't choose where they can go, left or right. You know, what they can do regarding if they are like a tiger, they can't start eating vegetarian. We can. So regarding choices, how is it that we can decide to choose and then stay with that choice? What is it that makes us go back or not follow our choices?
Well, I guess it's the awareness. I think once you have the awareness that your circumstances are neutral, and then you choosing your thoughts create your feelings drive your actions, and the actions provide you with the results you have. You can go backwards and say, what is the result that I want to have in my life? And then you can go back from it and say, what actions do I need to take? If I want to take these actions, how do I need to feel? For instance, I need to feel confident. I need to feel inspired. I need to feel appreciated. So what do I have to think? If all of these are related, what do I need to think in order to take that feeling, experience that feeling, and then take that action? I think this is kind of the model that I've been using, and it's made an extraordinary change in my life. And I really want to share it with people, because once you have that awareness, everything changes. Then you can't give your power away anymore. You're completely in charge. Does that make sense?
Sure. Absolutely. And so choices is very important, but what happens is habits. How do you change your habits? Because that's one of the biggest issues we have.
Right. Well, you need to, like I said, you need to overcome that little voice, the saboteur in your head that will come in, and the limiting beliefs that we have. So basically your mind only processes two things. It's the words that you tell yourself, the internal dialogue, and images that you create. This is how your mind functions. And your mind always will do what it thinks you want it to do. So if you've had an internal dialogue for a really long time, saying, oh, I'm not good at this, it's never going to succeed, I'm not good enough, what are people going to think? This is what becomes familiar to your brain. And the brain will always go back to the default. It will always go back to what's familiar. So you need to rewrite that. You need to override that and say, what are the thoughts that I can consciously program in, update my software, so I can actually choose a better habit? Let's say you want to get up in the morning and exercise. Your brain is going to be like, what exercise? We've never done this before. I don't want to do this. This is unfamiliar to me, right? Because it wants to go to the familiar thing. So what you need to do is to get out of yourself, watch yourself. Oh, I'm thinking this thing that's going to not serve me. I'm going to do it anyway. And this can be daily changes, right? It can be like, 1-minute workouts first, until your brain says, oh, if you've done this for the last 30 days, I guess it's really important to you. I guess it's really worth it, right? If you exercise and every minute of the exercise you tell yourself, oh my God, I'm so tired, this is not going to work out, my muscles, I hate this. Your mind is going to be, you hate this, it's going to find all the excuses for you not to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, and maybe you can mention the 5-second rule. I don't know if you know about it.
Yes. Well, yeah, some say 20 seconds, some say 5 seconds. So your mind is going to object within 5 seconds and find all the excuses not to do a thing that you've decided. And so if you kill it right away and you raise your hand very quickly, then you can decide in the moment. You need to take action. Basically, this is what it is. You need to take action despite of your programming, and then you can reprogram your brain. It's almost like if you're mowing a lawn and you've never gone through the big grass, it's going to be really hard in the beginning. But then once you've done it several times, it's going to be much smoother and smoother and smoother. This is what habits do.
For example, I've had a habit that I've always wanted to have, that was to get up in the morning at 5 a.m., to be part of the 5 a.m. club. And so as soon as the alarm clock would ring, my first Pavlov dog reaction is I'm going to count to 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I get up. Because if I actually sit and think I want to get up at 5, I don't. So it's a really beautiful, whenever you think you want to do something, don't even think that you want to do it. Just count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 and do it. And then get it done. I mean, especially with work you don't want to do, with exercising, with meditation. Like this morning, I was really tired and I said, no, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, meditation. That's my number one thing I have to do every morning, and it gets done, obviously.
And then over time, it becomes familiar. That's what you wanted to do. Once you're familiar with it, then your mind always will do what it thinks you want it to do. Then it will lead you, it will guide you. And also one of the things that I want to mention is abundance thinking. Like if you think that things are going to come to you, that you're already worthy, you're already enough, not thinking from scarcity, there will be not enough for everyone. If I take something, there's not going to be for anybody else. Then you give yourself permission, nourishing your body healthy. It's so important right now. And many people are just, going towards junk food and potato chips and all these things that are not nourishing the body and not nourishing the mind, by the way, right? So it's all interconnected.
So can you tell us a little bit about happiness? I know now everybody, what is it for you, a state of happiness? How you are always so calm and relaxed, and I think you're a very happy person. How did you get there?
Okay, well, happiness is an interesting concept, and I think many people interpret it very differently. So for me, it's more important to be human and authentic than happy all the time. When people tell me, joy on demand, things like this, I believe that our purpose is to be in joyful and a happy state. However, that doesn't mean that I am at peace at all times, right? Or happy at all times. It's about experiencing all of it and understanding the humanness of it. I think choosing humanness over happiness at all times, it's what's actually making us this long-term happy. But because I think there's a lot of shortcuts, there's no shortcut to this happy-go-lucky feeling. It's actually detrimental, because if we think, oh, I need to be happy all the time, and I'm not, then I think there's something wrong with me. Then I think I'm not worthy. Why is everybody else happy on social media and I'm not? Give yourself permission to be real, to be authentic, rather than, happy at all times.
Yeah. Kiki has a question for you from Greece.
Yes.
Hello, everybody. Nina, it was very inspiring what you said. I wanted to ask this because I have thought about it. If you accepting the circumstances doesn't include the danger to leave everything as it is, not trying to change it. Because if you accept everything, maybe then you find them normal. You don't need to change it.
Well, acceptance is one of the biggest powers you have. But the way I say it is acceptance, there's no resistance in your mind. You can still change things. You can actually change even more from that place of alignment. When you are not resisting with negative emotion, when you accept within and you say yes to whatever is happening, then from that place, you can change yourself. You can only change yourself. I mean, we know this intellectually, but don't we still try to change everybody else? You know, our husband, our children, like we think that, wouldn't it be great to put thoughts in other people's minds and say, oh yeah, I wish you would be like this. We can propose it to people, right? We can say, would you do this for me, please? But then they get still to decide. And you get still to decide how to react to that. If they don't do what you want them to do, or you don't agree with the circumstances, you can decide and choose how to feel about them. And that's where your huge power is.
And Nina, can you tell us about your company you started? Sorry, thank you, Kiki. You started a company called InsideOut?
Yes, InsideOut Circles, yes.
Yes, tell us about it and tell us the experience you've had doing it. Then we have another.
Yes, so InsideOut Circles was an initiative as an organization for women to come together and share in circles what, it means to be a woman in today's world, and basically many, many different topics, from letting go to the attachment of the outcome, being the best version of themselves, femininity as the power today, like all these different topics. Brain management was one of them as well. And women were bringing different topics and we would discuss them in a circle environment, in a confidential environment, similar to a forum, like you would know. And every time there were different people, and I found that the connection, the human connection with everybody was the power. Like we all right now, I don't believe in social distancing. I believe that we need to physically distance ourselves. But Laura, this is what we're doing exactly right now, is to connect socially. So InsideOut Circles was about connecting, empowering women to share their stories from within, to share their stories from the inside out, to show ourselves that we're all going through the same thing, being compassionate 100%, understanding that we're all in this together. And yeah.
There's a question from Dan. Yeah, please.
Mrs. Gira, it's easier.
Oh, okay, Gira.
How are you guys?
Hi.
I'm wondering, Nina, I know you have children, and like many other families, I mean, you're in a lockdown. How do you suggest, I mean, for these women to find their time? I mean, between cooking, cleanup, between homeschooling and journaling. I mean, how do you suggest, how do you juggle yourself this life? Because I mean, work from home may seem very easy, or homeschooling may seem very easy, but then it gets everything at the same time, and especially when you may be locked in a small apartment, it can be very, very stressful even to find the corner for yourself.
Absolutely. I so agree with that, for sure, Gira. So what I suggest is that, again, time is a concept and time only exists in our minds. When we are thinking, I don't have enough time, I'm never going to do this, everybody wants a piece of me, right? Then this is when you become overwhelmed. I think the more you can connect to the present moment right now, think about it as a test. Like if this was to go on forever, this is something I tell myself, this was going to on forever. Like let's say we're in confinement forever. What emotional and mind tool would you have to evolve to be more resilient, to overcome this, or to be with this, or to find peace with it. And you will find it. You will find the strength in the stillness. You will find the strength in the present moment. I know you're meditating. I know you're doing these things. So it doesn't take much time to be present, and actually it takes no time to be present if you can be mindful throughout the day. You know, it's, as I said, if you don't have the time to do it all, do one thing at a time, and don't beat yourself up if you can't do it all. This is another thing, like you only feel stressed or overwhelmed because you're thinking that you should be doing something else or you should be doing more. Right now I'm with my child, I'm doing this. Right now I'm working, I'm trying to do this. And if I don't do it all, don't be hard on yourself. This is what we tend to do as women in general. We go and punish ourselves. We go like, oh, and I can't be a good enough wife, and I can't be a good enough husband, woman for my husband. I can't be a good enough mother. You are enough no matter what.
I mean, just not about like self-criticism, but when for you, when during a day you get to the point where you like just want to scream, like literally, you want to strangle everybody.
Well,
How
do
you
it.
stop
I think.
yourself?
Yeah,
This
you
is
know,
what
you
I
can
mean.
release
I have a privilege to isolate myself by myself, so most of the time, and I can do my walks outside. So I do, but I have friends who I know they really struggle, because I mean, there are really times where you want, as beautiful as it is to be together, at some points you want to strangle everybody.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, you can decide to be angry and release emotion for sure. Like literally cry or punch a pillow. I've done this before because it just shows you how real everything is. And then reminding yourself that you get to choose, and then coming back out and be gentle with yourself doing this. Because I know that many people that are listening right now, they're like, yeah, I get it intellectually. That's all good. It's kind of the woo-hoo spiritual stuff, but it's not the reality, Nina. I know I've had these comments, but the reality of it is all created in your head. If you didn't think about it, if you were unconscious and all of this was happening, if you didn't have a mind, nothing would happen. You would have no response to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you, Kira, for the question, and Nina for the answers. And it's Karina. Karina is on the line. She's
Yes.
Hi.
We hear you.
Hi. Perfect. Perfect. Hi. For me, there is a problem connecting to things, connecting the acceptance of circumstances, which is something emotional, and having the control over the situation, to think about how to change it and to do it, because that, for me, that is something that is completely non-emotional. That is really, you cut out all the emotions and you go straight, you function. So there is a difference for me between functioning and accepting, and I find it very difficult to connect those things. This is what you were talking about, accepting things and then think about it and make your brain work, but it's and create a change, but it is about not losing an inner connection with your emotions, and that I find really difficult. So what is your advice, how to connect them, how to is there any tool to source from one, from those emotions and to create an action? I have a really big problem processing this connection.
Yeah.
In my mind.
I understand you right. So the way it works, I don't know if this is clear. I think I might make it clear. So the circumstance, the C, is the neutrality, right? And I know you're going through a really hard time right now. The circumstance is the neutrality. And from the circumstance, you have the thought, right? And the thought then creates an emotion, right? The thought, if you didn't have the thought, there would be no emotion. The emotion is what drives your action. You know, if you feel scared, fearful, frustrated, angry, you're gonna take actions that are gonna be in line with that emotion, because emotions always drive actions. And those actions are what provides us with the results. And the result is what proves the thought that you had in the beginning. So if you're thinking that you're helpless, for instance, and there's nothing you can do, like many people right now have told me, you know, I'm confined in my apartment, there's nothing I can do, there's hopelessness for me. And I tell them, okay, you choose to feel helpless, because in your mind, like everybody who comes for coaching to me, they say they don't realize that they are creating their reality through thoughts. They think it's just happening to them. It's happening to me. This is a circumstance. And my job as a coach is to show them their brain and say, this is just a reminder for you that this is neutral. This is where your power is. If you can dissociate those two, and I think it's really, really difficult because you're in it, you're in the situation. It's almost like you can't be the watcher right now, but this is where the power is. The power is to be the watcher and say, I am completely dissociated. I'm going to look at the situation from neutrality and what is the best feeling I can feel right now, and choose that feeling, and then say to yourself, if I needed to feel this way, what do I need to think? I hope that's clear, but if not, we can have a conversation offline.
You know,
do you guys find this confusing? Because it took me a while to get to this.
No, it's basically how I worked for a long period now. So at first you cut out emotion, and you deliberately decide what to do and how create the situation. And I guess the work is not to fall back to your initial emotions. So
Yeah,
that you
like
can
you have almost, it's almost like
functioning.
having default reactions and then having a conscious choice. Very different, right? The brain is hardwired for negative thinking. It will always go to protection mode, because this is how we survived as a species. Because we thought, okay, if a tiger is going to be out there, I need to hide. We need to make sure that we survive. This is the survival mode. The primitive brain will go into freeze, freak out. I need to make sure that I'm going to be safe. But today, we don't need to hide from tigers anymore. The worst thing that can happen is a feeling in our body. And that's what's so powerful when you understand that the feeling and really process the feeling. This is when shifts are starting to happen for you.
Nina, I think we have to close, but if you want to do some closing words as of the presentation, that would be wonderful.
Totally. Okay, so I think, thank you so much for joining, first of all. I hope it was, you know, beneficial and of value to you to understand that where intention goes, energy flows. And understand that our thoughts create our reality. Beliefs are thoughts that we think over and over and over again. Thoughts are just sentences in our brain, and we have the capacity to choose them. I am choosing to feel very grateful for this opportunity, Laura, and for Be Women. I would like to leave you with a question and an action maybe that you can take today. Is really to ask yourselves, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? Maybe this is a wake-up call for humanity to be more connected, to love more, to fully understand and realize our oneness. You know, I'm looking at the environment as well. You know, I know this is a big cause for you guys. Maybe the environment is also taking a breath right now. You know, I'm reading that the skies in China, the skies in Paris, the skies everywhere, have not been as clear in a very long time. Maybe we need to change how we run our economic and financial systems. And we can dwell in fearful thoughts. We can watch the media all day long. We can hide. We can, resist. But we can also choose to be proactive leaders right now, change the emotions, and move into gratitude and love. And a question that I want to leave you with is, what would love do? No matter what you do in your everyday life, ask yourself, what would love do right now? Especially when you're about to react. Because the choice is yours, and we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. So all my love to you.
Wow, Nina, this has been fabulous. So thank you. And, now that we are so embedded with all that Nina said, I will ask you to get a pen and a piece of paper and write 3 things that you will actually do today based on all the inspiring things that Nina told you, inspired you, that intentions, whenever you have an intention or an action, you will do things, your words mean what you will lead you with your way. So please write them down and do them. And then we will send you the recording in a few days and send an email to Nina and tell her, yes, I've done these things. We need to be accountable to our actions, especially our good actions, and feel that our good actions can keep bringing more good actions and more good actions, so that not only personally we're better, our family is better, our community is better, our country is better. I think this is the moment to reinvent our future, especially with inspiring words like Nina. So thank you again. And just let me tell you that we have amazing speeches coming up, or webinars coming up. The next one in English will be about conflict, the art of everyday peacemaking. It is an amazing methodology that is very simple, that leads to transform what is conflict into opportunity for growth, or conflict. It's more than 250,000 people have been trained on this methodology, and we believe that with this methodology we will be able to create peace in the world. We have also another amazing speaker called The Real Wealth of Nations, Creating a Caring Economy Post-COVID. Because what is left is we need to really change in the core. I think COVID is a great catalyst to create this change, where we are all consciously inside our houses to think, reflect, and then grow into creating economies where we care for people and the planet. And that would be our core objective. So she's been the author of this book, The Real Wealth of Nations. Rainer Eisler has been talking about caring economy for more than 10 years. I think now is the time for moving on that. And so on this note, please register yourself to other webinars that we do. If you have anything you want to share with the world, please connect with us, and we will organize a webinar for you so that we can expand the knowledge of these beautiful, beautiful things. Robert Benigna will talk also on the 20th of May. So about also consciousness and sharing and safe. So, and Danjira, if you want to provide a presentation, please, we're all welcome for those. So on this note, I would like to thank you all, and stay safe, wash your hands, stay home.
Wash your minds.
Wash your minds, exactly, wash your minds. Journal, decide, meditate, all these beautiful things that in the end, as Nina said, our intentions is what matters, and if we intend to do something, the action will happen. So just put the intention there.
Absolutely.
Simple, isn't it?
Thank you so much, Laura, for this opportunity. As we speak, baby is awake and needs feeding.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Nina. Merci, Laura.
My love. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, Nina. Bye.
Everyone, have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.